I took one of the most popular chicken recipes from Paula Deen and made it keto. Today we're taking the Goddess of Butter's comfort favorite chicken divan casserole and turning it into a low-carb version. It's one of the easiest recipes to throw together, and I know your family's gonna love it just as much as mine did. Let's start with the topping. Chicken divan is usually topped with a breadcrumb topping or bits of crumpled up crackers on top just to give it a crunchy, buttery flavor. Since we're making this low carb, we aren't going to be using breadcrumbs or crackers, although you could use low carb crackers here, but instead we're going to use a 1/4 cup of almond flour and a 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese as our keto breadcrumb base. You could also substitute either of those with ground up pork rinds, also called pork panko. That would be a 0 carb option and also provides a really nice crunch. But I went with these two just because it's the two most common breadcrumb substitutes if you're going low carb. Set that aside and then let's work on the base for our casserole. Paula's recipe calls for 2 cans of condensed cream of mushroom soup, which is really a staple if you're making any sort of creamy, buttery comfort casserole. However, it's filled with some not so good for you ingredients, plus those 2 cans can add around 40 grams of carbohydrates to your dish. So what I like to use in place of that is a carton of this mushroom bisque by Kettle and Fire. It's not made with any of that MSG junk, and it only has 8 grams of carbs per carton. It's my go-to replacement for cream of mushroom in my keto recipes. Just like Paula did, we're adding in a cup of mayonnaise and a cup of sour cream. And any type of mayo could be used here. You could use avocado mayo if you're looking for a more healthy oil substitute. Now that this is mixed, let's finish adding in the rest of our casserole ingredients while I share with you about my sponsor for today's video, which is Element Electrolytes. Add in 8 ounces of shredded sharp cheddar cheese. Element is my go-to electrolyte mix that I pretty much have every morning. On a low-carb diet, and since I try and avoid processed foods when I can, I'm not getting as much sodium as I used to. In fact, I'm not even sure I'm getting enough sometimes. And sodium as well as magnesium and potassium are very essential electrolytes that you need for proper nerve conduction and muscle contraction. It just helps everything run efficiently. And I can feel a difference in my energy levels when I have my morning electrolyte mix versus when I don't. Let's add in a tablespoon of lemon juice and a teaspoon of curry powder here. These are both going to help brighten up the flavor and add a little bit of zing, along with some salt and pepper, and then a 1/4 cup of dry white wine, or you could use chicken broth if you're alcohol free. Paula Deen did add in 1/2 cup of white wine to her recipe. I'm only doing the 1/4 just because that mushroom bisque soup is a little bit more liquidy than the cream of condensed mushroom soup, or the cream of mushroom soup that's condensed. So I don't want to use as much liquid here as I would if I was using that fake crap. I love Element because it has a lot of electrolytes in it. Many of the powders and drinks out there don't give you enough, but Element has a science-backed formula of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Plus, I really like the flavor. I've been on a citrus kick lately this summer, so I'm all about the orange, grapefruit, and citrus flavors from Element. Right now, Element's offering my viewers a free sample pack with any order. This is a great way to try some of their flavors before you buy a ton of them. To get yours, just go to drinkelement.com/ketofocus. All right, now that the sauce for our casserole is mixed up, it's time to add in our chicken. This is about 6 cups of shredded cooked chicken, and I found the best, simplest way to do this, since it's a really easy casserole recipe, is just to use a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store and then just pick off all the meat and cut it into smaller chunks. It's so much easier easier than cooking your own chicken. Add in around 20 to 24 ounces of frozen broccoli, which is about 2 packages of broccoli for me. Just make sure that you thaw it out and drain it before you add it in. So I guess at that point it's not frozen anymore. This is just so creamy and delicious just like this. It's tempting just to eat it by the spoonful right here, but we're actually gonna bake it. Pour this into a casserole dish, whatever large size dish that you have, and then evenly spread it around. Then we're gonna top it with our keto breadcrumb mixture that we made earlier. Paula does add in some melted butter into her breadcrumb mixture, but I found this to be a pretty calorie heavy dish anyway, so I omitted it. Plus the almond flour and the ground Parmesan cheese add in a lot of fat and calories as it is. So I didn't add any butter. Blasphemy, I know. And Paula is probably really pissed at me right now. But you just do what level of butter you feel comfortable with. You know, Paula, she's probably gonna add like 2 bricks of butter into there. And that's her. It's just not the majority of us. This will bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for around 40 minutes. If you find that the casserole isn't as golden brown on top as you like, then just put it under the broiler for a few minutes under low, and then it should turn golden brown. This is so creamy and good. It tastes just as good as the original, but without all the extra carbs. And if you want more Paula Deen and to see how I turned her famous peach cobbler keto, then click right here.